Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, my social thread, and my name's Crystal. So today is a very belated December roundup of the month's vlog for you. It is now the end of January, so this is indeed very late. For those of you that are returning viewers, thank you very much for coming back to watch me babble on again, and thank you for subscribing. For those of you that are new, this is my sewing channel where I talk about my sewing journey. I talk patterns and fabric and makes for myself and makes for my children. If that's something that you think might interest you, or if you are liking my content, please kindly click the thumbs up or like button and kindly subscribe as well. That just tells YouTube that my vlogs are useful or entertaining, and therefore it then pops up on other people's searches when they search for sort of sewing related videos. So thank you very much. So today is my December roundup. As I said, I think I have made 6 items in the month of December, and I thought most of the items that I have made are garments that I've made before, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about them, although I probably will get carried away anyway, because these are garments that I have made before and I have spoken about. So the thing with me, because obviously I make like I'm not a pattern tester or anything, I just make patterns that I like to wear and patterns that my children like to wear. So most of them are, well, not most of them, okay, most of them would be a sort of repeats, because it's just the things that we like to wear, and so I have spoken about them in length before. And I'm also going to be sharing, I'll tell you about that later on. Okay, should we start with number one? So number one is a tried and tested pattern of mine, Tilly and the Buttons, which is one of my favorite designers. Where is the book? I have made a couple of three Tilly and the Button Freya tops. Tilly and the Buttons, it's from her book Stretch. Tilly and the Buttons, very good pattern maker for beginners and all the way through to sort of advanced sewists as well. So her instructions are very, very good. I've got a pattern here as well. So her instructions are very, very good, coloured throughout, really nice print quality, and her instructions literally do hold your hand. This is just an example, Billie example, for example. Lovely, beautiful instructions, all step by step, coloured photos, and literally it tells you exactly what you need to do, where you need to do it. So I totally recommend Tilly to all of my friends that want to start sewing, because I find her patterns are very easy to follow, very easy to use, in comparison especially to sort of the big four, which again I tell my friends the big four, sort of Butterick, Vogue, Simplicity, and is it New Look? The big four sewing companies, I tend to stay away from those, because I just find, I mean, I'm not a beginner sewist anymore. I would say I'm an intermediate sort. I mean, I guess it's all relative, but I have sewn sort of quite a few. I'd probably say about, I don't know, if you would put a sort of a number on the amount of garments you've sewn, I would say more than 100. Is that possible? Probably, yeah, more than 100 garments, including sort of dresses and skirts and children's wear, coats, bags, that sort of thing. So I would consider myself an intermediate sewist, although, as I say, that's quite relative. And I tend to find that the big four sewing patterns, as I say, New Look, Vogue, Simplicity, although the range of their patterns are extensive, like literally, I don't think you could go, I think they have a pattern for every single design that you could ever imagine. It's just a case of trying to locate it, searching through their catalogues, or if you sort of know already of a design that you're looking for, maybe type that in and it should pop up. But I find that their instructions are not as detailed as independent instructions from independent pattern designers, and that's why I tend to favour independent pattern designers myself, and that's why I tend to recommend independent pattern designers to my friends as well, Tilly and the Buttons being one of them. So Over It, Named Clothing, Closet Core Patterns, what's the other one I'm looking for, True Bias, who made the Sage Brush Top? Is that Closet Core as well? So pattern designers like that, Jennifer Lauren Handmade, Those sort of indie patterns are the ones that I go for. Anyway, that was a whole new tangent of what I was talking about. So Tilly and the Buttons stretch book. Again, these books by Tilly, I think she's got 3 now. Stretch, she's got Make It Simple, and Stitch, like the first one, Love at First Stitch. So I have all 3 pattern books of hers. So it's beautiful coloured illustrated book. You've got, I don't know how many patterns are in here, but you have the pattern pieces at the back of the book and the pattern instructions inside the book. So anyway, I keep rambling on. Freya top. Okay, so the Freya top, I have made these and it's a great staple sort of top, and I will show you it here. So this is the Freya top or dress. By extending it, you turn it into a dress, and it's basically a fitted jersey top. And it has 2 different neck variations. This is sort of a, what do you call this? Like a turtle neck. Did she call it a turtleneck? Like a turtle mock neckline. I would call this a turtleneck. Mock neckline, and then obviously the sleeves here are 3/4 lengths or long. Obviously the sleeves you can extend or you can lengthen or shorten as you please. And again, you have it's a t-shirt or top version, and then again you can lengthen or shorten it how you please to make it into a dress, or even shorten it to make it into a crop top if you wanted to. And this goes from a size 1, which is a bust of 28 inches, waist of 23 inches, all the way to a size 8, which is a bust of 42 inches, waist of 37 inches. So all of the instructions are in the booklet, and this particular top itself has 2 variations. As I say, you can have the mock neckline, which is what I went for one of my versions, and then you can also have roll neck. That's it, a roll neck or roll neck is what they've called it. So roll neck version or a mock neck version, and then you can have a cowl neck version here. So you basically the front bodice neckline, I think, does it get raised? It gets lowered a bit, and then you get another piece for the cowl instead of the roll neck piece. So that's what I made. I am normally a size 4 to 5 in Tilly patterns. So with this particular pattern, it has negative ease as it's a knit. Negative ease meaning that the finished garment measurements is smaller than your actual body measurements, because it relies on the stretch of the fabric to fit your body, whilst a woven pattern, for example, will normally have positive ease, which means that the finished garment measurement is big. Garment measurements are bigger than your body measurements, so that you have ease to move. Otherwise, if you were to wear a woven garment that was your exact measurements, you wouldn't be able to sit down, for example, because it would just rip. And that sort of thing. So this says negative ease, as I say. Let me just see what it is. Negative ease. So for example, for a size 4, bust of 36, waist of 30, and the finished measurements would be 2 inches. So it's 2 inches of negative ease for this particular Freya top, and I'm not a size 4 according to this. Now I'd probably be a size 5 according to this, but again, it depends on the fabric that you use. If you're using like a viscose jersey, for example, I find they are a lot more giving and a lot more stretchy. So in terms of your negative ease, you could possibly go down a size. In terms of cotton jersey, I would say that although it is, you know, still stretchy, there's a lot less give. And it's a lot less stretchy, in my opinion, anyway. I find that viscose jersey, you can really, really stretch that out, whilst cotton jersey, not so much. And so with a cotton jersey, I would say stick to your size according to this, and don't go down one size. So my versions, very, very easy to make, all on the overlocker. Yep, every single thing on the overlock, apart from the hem. The hem and the cuffs I did on my sewing machine. And I did use Mariflex thread, which is the stretchy thread now that Guttermans have released. I only have that in a black and a white, and actually a navy as well. And when I first started using Mariflex thread, I didn't get on with it at all. I just didn't find that it was stretchy enough, although I saw people's tutorials and vlogs online, and they were having used the Mariflex thread, they were stretching their fabric, you know, quite a lot, and it was stretching really nicely. But then when I used it, mine was only stretching a little bit before it actually broke. So I just sort of gave Mariflex a rest for a while, and I've only just revisited it recently, and I found that actually it works fine now. So I'm not sure what I did before, but now I like it. So my first version, I went for the roll neck. And I've been trying to use up my stash. And so I just had this, oh, it looks quite nice online. It's a sort of marble print with sort of greens and blues and pinks and golds. And this was just a purchase probably from like Facebook. There's quite a lot of fabric companies that post on Facebook, and I bought that from there. I've also made a sweatshirt for my niece in this a long time ago. Anyway, I had some remnants of this left over, and it's the roll neck there, as I say. Long sleeve version. There you go. And did I put a label in here? No, I didn't even put a label in here. And I didn't even use matching overlocking thread. So there you go. And the only way I know how to put this on the right way is because I have the centre back seam of the roll neck at the back. Otherwise, I would need to put a label in there because sometimes it's quite difficult to figure out what's the front or the back. I'll post a photo of that right now. So that's one make. The second one is the same pattern, but I used the cowl. Did I use the cowl neck version? I didn't use the cowl neck version. What I did is I used the roll neck version, but I doubled the height of it so that the roll neck could fold onto itself. And this fabric was, I know I said that I've been trying to use up all my stash, but I'm not sure why I got this. My husband gifted me some, because I started a sewing class for teenage girls, sort of. So we've got two local girls that are friends of my daughters, and two other girls that are friends of my daughters, and my two daughters, all six of them come together at my house every Thursday afternoon. And I basically we choose a pattern and we work through that pattern together, and it's just a lovely 2.5 hours on a Thursday afternoon with me helping the girls learn how to sew. And I think the girls really enjoy it. And Daniel said it was a, you know, sort of a great idea, sort of giving up my time for the girls. I mean, I don't get paid or anything. It's just, you know, they bring their machines and they pay for all their fabrics that we, so I sort of recommend what fabrics to go for and what shops that I normally buy my things for. So they buy all their fabric and their threads and everything else. They bring their machines, so it's just me here sort of running through how to do things with them, and it's really lovely. Actually, my girls enjoy it because their friends are here, they're all learning a new skill, and I'm passing on sort of my love and my love of sewing, so hopefully they will then take that up as they grow up and just enjoy it as much as I do. So anyway, as a result of that, my husband said my husband gifted me some fabric. He said, oh, why don't you choose something? And at the time I really wanted this fabric from Higgs and Higgs, and it's a mohair feel knit fabric, and I'll show you here. So this has been worn a lot, so many times now. I haven't even ironed it, but this is the pink version. It's the colour's not really shown. It's looking quite grey on there, but it's sort of like a pinky mauvey version colourway, and it's their mohair sort of knit. I don't know what it's called, but it's £17.99 a metre. And I've always looked at it. I think it's been on their website for about a year now, and I've always looked at it thinking, oh, that's so lovely. I think the word mohair just sounds really amazing, although it just says mohair like or mohair feel, so it's not actually mohair. And I've always wanted to grab some because it just looks so lovely, and I knew I wanted to make a top, and normally I can get a top out of 1.5 meters of fabric, but because it is directional in the sense that it's directional, as it were. I wasn't able to cut out the sleeves in the same direction because my 1.5 meters, I just didn't have enough to do that. And then I just thought, oh no, what am I going to do? Am I going to have to buy another half a meter? And that was just really annoying, because when I bought it at $17.99, there was, I believe, a 20% or a 15% discount at the time. And obviously I wouldn't have that anymore because that discount had elapsed. And so I decided to cut it the other way, and actually the sleeves the other way, and actually it doesn't look too bad. It actually looks really, really nice. What I will say though, this fabric is, when I did first receive it, because I knew it was $17.99, I mean, that's more expensive than Lady McElroy, that's more expensive than Dashwood Studios, not quite as expensive as like Atelier Brunette or Art Gallery, but I was expecting it to be like super luxurious and super just look or feel expensive. Now when I got it, so I've got it in this version, the pink version, and also a black version, and the black version didn't look, it just looked, I mean, I guess it depends. I can't remember how they packaged it, you know, like if you were to get like a plain black leather bag that was a designer bag, they package it really beautifully, and you just feel like you're actually getting your money's worth by, you know, they've got tissue paper and they've got a ribbon and they've got like a box and then they've got a, you know, all this packaging, and it's all folded nicely and everything else. And you just think, you know, I've really, it's my money well spent. And I can't actually remember how they packaged it, but anyway, when I received the fabric, I just didn't think it was worth $17.99 a meter, and I'm glad I didn't pay I'm glad my husband didn't pay $17.99 a meter. But I mean, it's here, and I do wear it, and it is super comfortable. It is super cozy inside. Let me just show you the reverse. Let me show you the reverse of the pink one. So that's what it is. And then the reverse. It's like a chenille. Chenille is like, you know, like sofa cushion material. So it's really lovely and cozy, and I do wear it all the time. And actually my daughter, my eldest daughter, wears it as well. So we're kind of fighting over it. And that's the black version. What I will say is, number one, it's expensive and I don't think it's worth that much money. But number two, it does tend to snag quite a lot. So I have had a couple of pulls. I don't think there's any here at the moment. I don't know if you can see any pulls. But what I have done, which I learned a long time ago on like a TikTok page or something, is instead of cutting it or just letting it stay there, you just get a crochet hook, and from the reverse of the fabric, just thread your crochet hook, a tiny one, through to the front of the sweater and pull that loose thread back in. So it will be loose on the inside, but on the outside it will just look really nice and new. And that's, sorry, I keep looking. I'm basically using an iPad now for recording my vlogs as opposed to my phone, because I'm going to give the iPad what's their editing thing called? Is it called iMovie? I'm going to give that a go and try and edit everything myself, because previously I was recording it on my phone, which is an Android phone, and then my daughter, my darling 16-year-old daughter, would upload it for me and use Adobe Premiere Pro to basically, she would edit all of my, well, she wouldn't edit it all, she would set it all up for me, she would make my thumbnails, I would edit it on Premiere Pro, and then she would export it and put it onto YouTube and everything else. Anyway, because she's busy with A levels at the moment, and because it was just like there was lots of different moving factors in order for me to get a vlog done successfully, and so now I'm trying to do everything all in-house, as in me, so all me doing it. And so this is my first time using the iPad, so I think I'm kind of looking at the screen and looking, anyway, I'm sure you understand. So this is the Freya, as I say. So the first time I did it, I doubled the, oh look, it's a bit so look, there's another snag there. Is that a snag? Yep, there's a snag there. So I'm gonna have to get, so unfortunately with this, it's enclosed, the roll, so I can't actually, oh no, I could still put a crochet hook through there. I could still try and do that, crochet hook, because that's the inside anyway. Crochet hook and try and get that snag back in. So as I say with the Freya, I try to double the roll neck, but then when I wear it, it's not enough to do this, which is what I wanted it to do. It's quite narrow, it isn't tall enough. And so for my next version, which was the pink version, I increased it by a lot more. So I'll show you the difference. There you go. Can't see if you see the line. So their first one was this high, and then I had to increase it by a bit more. So this pink version does fold over quite nicely. And that's sort of the effect I was looking for. That goes down a bit more. Unfortunately, with, as I say, with the fabric, because it is directional, I ended up having to do my roll neck on instead of there being one seam on the side, there's two seams, so I had to center it on either side of the neck. So when you fold it over, it is quite chunky on the side, so that's a bit annoying. I don't know if anybody else would notice it, but I find that quite annoying, having a seam there and a seam there as opposed to just one at the back. But I had to do that because I didn't have enough fabric to put the whole roll neck piece on because of the directional print, as I say. Anyway, I really still enjoy wearing them. They are very nice and cozy. And yeah, that's from Higgs and Higgs. And I'll pop up some photos of me wearing both of these. What else did I want to say about that? No, I think that's all I wanted to say about those two. And then the other thing that I made was another Camden skirt. So Nina Lee Camden, again a make that I've made before. I think I've made 3 of these skirts now, all in corduroy, and I've made 2 pinafore dresses as well out of denim and cord. But this is a Nina Lee Camden and pinafore dress. So I've made my own. I've never made this version before. I've made this several times, but the pinafore version I'm talking about is I've just made the skirt, and then I've added a bib and straps, and that's sort of my own pinafore version. So this particular pattern goes from a size 6 bust of the, well, it doesn't really, I mean, the bust obviously just refers to the pinafore. I'm talking about the skirt, so it would be a waist of 24 all the way up to a waist of 38 in a size 20. Really, really easy to make. I don't line mine because I've never used the fabric that I'd need to line it. So I always have used either denim or cord, which I haven't lined. Even the pockets with the denim, I think with the denim I've lined it. Have I lined it? I've got it here. So yeah, with the denim I've lined it, but with the cord ones that I've made, I haven't lined it. And if you don't line the pockets or the skirt itself, it's actually a really, really easy make. So this is my denim version here. All dirt. Again, I've used this non-stop, so it's a bit, it's just come out. It was in the laundry. I've just taken it out of the laundry to show you. So as I say, it is quite a quick make in the sense that you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pattern pieces. Now that sounds like a lot, but what I mean, you've got the front pieces split into 2. If you wanted to, you could omit the seam in the middle, take out the seam allowance and just have 1 front piece with a skirt. And then you've got 2 pieces for the back. And then you've got the waistband, which is in 2. And the reason why the waistband is in 2 pieces was because the dress, if you were to do the pinafore, then the bodice would be sandwiched in between the 2 waistbands. And then you've got 2 pocket pieces. You've got the front pocket and you've got the lining pocket. As I say, for this denim version, I have lined the pockets just because I didn't want that sort of colour coming through as you're sort of wearing it. Whilst I find with the cord skirts that I've made, you don't, because the colour of the cord at the right side and the wrong side are very similar, so you don't really have that contrast in the front or the back or the front of the fabric. So this took a little bit longer because of my top stitching. So I've just used sort of a gold, sort of typical gold thread for top stitching all the way around. And it's an invisible zip at the back. Is it invisible? It is invisible until you get to, so I don't know if you can see that. So it is an invisible zip there until you get to the top. So it's not that invisible there. So yeah, so I've made this skirt many a times before. As I say, I normally have a below the knee length of my skirt. So I think I've added about 6 inches to the length of this skirt. Everything else is as is. I do a size 12 in this one and it fits perfectly. It's got an invisible zip, as I say, and I've learned to use invisible zips quite casually now, I suppose. And with my Camden skirts, as I've mentioned before, I always use band roll for my waistband. So I mean, it still bends and crushes, but I don't know if you found with sort of waistbands in trousers or skirts that you make, if when you tend to sit down, it kind of crushes, and it's just the interfacing, even, I mean, no matter how much interfacing you put in there, I find that after it's been washed, the interfacing almost becomes like fabric, and it just kind of doesn't have that much support. So I always use band roll now, which is the stuff here. Band roll, and I used to buy the meter from my social studio, and now I have sort of used it for about 4 or 5 items now, and I always will use this from now on for all of my waistbands and dresses or skirts, trousers, shorts, that sort of thing. And I've now bought this roll. This is 45 meters from eBay, not from eBay, from Amazon, and it's was cheaper. I can't remember how much it was, but it was cheaper altogether. Obviously, I wouldn't buy it otherwise. And basically what it is, it's like, I think they compare it to when you're making curtains for like the tabs or the pelmets of curtains. They have something like this, maybe slightly thicker for sort of curtains, but this is what it's like. And it's like a sort of plasticky thing, but I don't know what it's made of. Does it say? It doesn't say what it's made of. But it kind of feels like a plasticky netted kind of interfacing, and it's quite rigid. It's so it does fold and bend, but it's got quite a lot of rigidity in it, and it doesn't sort of hurt against your like skin or what have you in the waistband. So it's stiff enough to hold a waistband, but not stiff enough to cause you any pain or discomfort. And you can sew over it. You can sew over it, you can obviously cut it to size, what have you. And I know that from my previous vlog, one of my viewers, I think it was Maureen, asked me if I could show you how I use the band roll. I was going to make another Camden skirt. I have some black corduroy left to make up a quick Camden skirt, but I am going to show you that in my January makes. I haven't made it yet, but I will show you that in my January makes. But for now, because I didn't want Maureen to think that I was ignoring her or I wasn't paying attention to her comments, I do read all of your comments on my YouTube vlogs, so please do, if you have any questions, please, you know, comment below, and I will try and answer them as best as I can. So with this band roll, you just cut it to size. Basically, it comes in 2 different widths. This is a meter, 1.5 inches, which is what I normally use. And say, for example, this is your waistband. I'm just using the hem of my skirt. Say this is your waistband, and you need to fold it over this way as you do. I would just put the band roll in like so, and then fold it over, and then stitch down. You can stitch on it if you want to, you can stitch on the side of it, you can stitch through it, and then I would just anchor it on either side and just use that. So instead of elastic or instead of interfacing, just the channel that you make in your waistband, I just insert that well before I close the waistband over, or put the back of the waistband on, and it's simple as that. And as I say, you can sew through it, and it's really, really great. Band roll also actually has another use for making really thin hems on like satins and silks. And what it is, I mean, I can't actually do it, this actually comes apart, so it's like you can actually pull them apart. And what you do for like a really, really thin hem, how did they show you how to do it? I don't actually know, but if you Google band roll, there are some YouTube tutorials about using this to create really, really fine hems on fine garments. And essentially what it is, although it's not, I won't be able to show you properly, is you get your fabric and you sew it to the end, like so. If you wanted like a really fine one, for example, so you sew it to it, so you sew the whole thing to the end, and you sew it on that bit there, and then you can pull all of this away, so you're only left with a tiny bit that creates the hem and gives it stiffening. And yeah, that's essentially what it is. But I found it very I've never used it, I don't have the need to use it for that particular purpose, but I always use it for my waistbands, as I say. But it does have other uses as well, if you were interested in what other uses it does have. So that's my Camden skirt. I'll pop up a photo of it, although I think it might, yeah, anyway, I'll pop up a photo of it right now. That's my Camden skirt. And then, oh, Maureen as well, asked if I could. I don't think she asked for it. I can't do tutorials. I don't have the I think it's quite hard to be sewing and then I've got a camera over me. I don't have the stand thing for a camera to go over my machine as I'm sewing, so I can't do a tutorial. But basically my tips for zips is I think most of you will probably know this already, but with an invisible zip, you need to iron out the tape. Have I got one here? Bear with me. Yes, I have a whole bag of invisible zips here, and I'll talk about invisible zips in a bit with, well, I'll talk about it now. So this is a whole bag of different coloured invisible zips, 22 inches from Amazon. I think I got 20 for like £15 or maybe 40 for £15. I can't remember. It was very, very cheap anyway. And the reason why I got them was because I have been making lots of peony dresses by Fabric Godmother, which I'll get onto because I am going to talk about that in a little while. But when I was looking for zips, because I add invisible zips to my peony dresses for breastfeeding access, so I need 1, 2, and then 1 for the back, so I need 3 22-inch invisible zips per peony dress. And I have made 1, 2, 3, 4. I've made 4 so far. And I was looking for invisible zips. Where would they be cheaper? And I do have a local fabric shop to me, about 20-minute drive. And I went to this independent local fabric store, and I was, you know, already just almost wasn't going to look at the price. I almost wasn't going to look, and I was just going to get, you know, 6 of them because I was going to make these 2 peony dresses. And then I happened to look at the price, and it was £4.50 for a 22-inch invisible zip, which I think is extraordinarily expensive, especially because I needed 3. That would be almost £15 for a dress for the zipper alone, plus say the £45 I've used for the fabric, plus everything else. Anyway, I ended up not getting anything from that shop, and I actually thought it is a real shame that obviously these independent shops do need our support, but I just wasn't willing to pay £4.50 for an invisible zip. And so I ended up going online to buy this Amazon pack of zips because I was desperate for these zips, and Amazon had the next day delivery, so I wanted to go for those. But I will say that actually Jenny Stitches that does 22-inch invisible zips, and she only charges £2 for them, which is really, really great. Her colours aren't, I mean, I think she has about 10 or 12 colours, yeah, £2 a zip, which I think is amazing. So that's my invisible zip saga. So going back, Maureen, sorry, my tips for invisible zips is you need to prepare your zips first of all by opening it up, and you basically need to iron it. So this is your invisible zip here. You need to iron it flat this way, and then sort of open up the it's a better way of showing you. If you just press your iron in between the teeth and the tape to open it up. I don't know if you can see what I've done there. So as it is, it's quite, you can't really get to the edge of the tape, so the edge is right in there. So just right in there. And if you press an iron over this part here, just in between this groove here, you're able to then open that zip up. So when you put your needle down from the machine, when you put your needle into the zip, it needs to literally fall into the groove, that line there. It needs to go into that groove there, and so it will be invisible. If it goes sort of a couple of millimeters away from that line, it's no longer an invisible zip. You will get a bit of that zipper tape showing through on the other side. So that's a tip I learned from Tilly and the Buttons. Actually, she has a tutorial on using invisible zip, so I always do that with mine. And with my zipper foot, when I put my zipper foot on for my particular machine, I have a FAF 630. I put my zipper foot on, and then I also put my needle to the very left position, well, depending which way I'm sewing, left or right. I put it to the very, very end of the position of the needle, so it really is right at the end, and it really does get into the groove, creating a really nice invisible zip. The other thing as well, which I learned from Rachel from Stitched Up. She normally uses a zip that is longer than what is required for her pattern. So for example, if this is a 22-inch zip, if you needed a 14-inch zip or even a 20-inch zip, she would say just get one bigger. And basically the reason why she does that is because most of you will find, most of us find, that when you are sewing through the zip, when you get to this bit here, it's really, so your needle is going straight all the way, straight. Once it gets to here, there's obviously a zip in the way, and then you end up kind of trying to figure this out, or you kind of, I used to just put my needle down, anchor it down, put my presser foot up, wiggle the zip back, and then try and continue sewing, but that sometimes doesn't work, and then you have like really crazy sort of dodgy stitches around here. But if you do use a zip that is longer than what you require, how does she figure that one? If it's longer than what you require, you just need to, I don't know how she did that. You just, I don't know how that's useful now. If it's longer than what you require, if it's longer than what you require, so for example, if your zipper, you only need a zipper that's up to this length, and you have this bit extra, you would sew all the way up to here, all perfectly straight because there's nothing in the way. So all the way up to here. Once you're there, you then pull this back, and then you can put some tack stitches there and cut that off, and then you've got a perfectly straight line of stitches there. That's what I try to follow when I use my zips. So hopefully, Maureen, that was useful. I know you asked about the zips and the band roll. Hopefully that was useful for you. I may, on my next vlog, when I've made the Camden or making the Camden, I may show you how I actually do put the band roll in, because I'll just show you how I do that on the waistband. Hopefully that was useful. And then the next make, sorry, I did tend to babble on a little bit about that. My next make was the Peony Fabric Godmother peony dress. As I say, it's my new favourite pattern. It is this one here, Fabric Godmother Peony. Line drawings are as such. So it's semi-fitted, bust darts, waist darts, really poofy gathered shoulders with a shoulder puff inside to create extra poof, a frill here, straight, it's not straight, so it's like a pencil skirt kind of, but semi-fitted, and then a frill at the bottom, invisible zip at the back, waist darts, back dart, waist darts, bodice back darts, and shoulder darts. This goes from a size, what does it say? This goes from a size 6, bust of 31, waist of 23, all the way up to a size 30, bust of 55, waist of 47. I made a size 14 at the bust, graded down to a size 12 at the waist, and I really love this dress. I had to manipulate the darts, as I say, because I have made a previous one. I have spoken about it in my November makes, but just quickly, I did manipulate the darts for this dress. So let me get that here. I did manipulate the darts for this dress, so I removed the bust dart and the waist dart at the front of the bodice, and I added, I created new seam lines, princess seams this way, where I added invisible zips. In this particular version, I did the same for the back, but in recent times, I have now just done, which I'll talk about in my January makes, I've made my 4th version, which I've done the invisible zips at the front, so I've done the princess seams at the back, at the front, but I've kept the back bodice the same with the shoulder and the waist darts. And the reason I did that was because my fabric needed, it had a pattern on it, and I didn't want to have to deal with, I wasn't going to pattern match the front anyway, but I just didn't want to deal with an extra set of seams here. Anyway, I've done that, and I think that seems fine. So from now on, I will just have the hat bodice front, but keep the bodice back the same. So instructions wise, it's quite good. The only thing, what was the only thing I got confused about? Nothing really. Very good instructions. Very nice to sew up. I added pockets with mine, and I lengthened my sleeves, and this is my version here. Again, I don't know if this has even been ironed or washed. No, it hasn't. So I have used this as well a couple of times now. This is actually my Christmas Day dress, and this is the version here. So I extended the sleeves. I literally extended the sleeves, lengthened it, and just tapered it towards the end. And then this is the sorry, there's a stain there at the front there, but this is the it's all a bit creased as well. There's a pull there. Everything's going wrong today. So this is the invisible zips, and that's obviously the new princess seam line. Same with the other side. And that's great for breastfeeding access for myself. And I really like that hack now that I've created. I also love, my favorite part of this pattern is the poof of the sleeve, and you achieve that by there's a shoulder puff inside. So it's just like a football, a rugby ball piece of fabric that's gathered, folded over and gathered, and then it's inserted onto the seam of the seam allowance of the sleeve and the bodice. And that goes in quite nicely. Also, the shoulder is a bit, so the shoulder seam here is narrower than normal, to allow the puff of the shoulder to actually sit on your shoulder rather than sort of at the edge, and I think that gives it height as well. So I really like that. And there you go, that's that one here. This is fabric from Jenny Stitches, but it's actually a poppy corduroy, which is really nice, and it's still available in her store actually as well. These are some of my photos. What else was I going to say about the peony dress? I think that was it. Oh, and I had a comment from another lovely viewer, Jenny. She said that she was just saying, oh, your breastfeeding hack was really amazing, and that I should have won a prize for it. So basically I entered this in for, did I enter it in? No, I wasn't able to enter it in actually. So my first version I ever made, which is for my November makes, I did enter that for the Peony Party competition that Fabric Godmother were organising, and there were some amazing prizes, including a Husqvarna sewing machine worth £1,000 or what have you, and everything else. And I really wanted to win something, but I only managed to sew up one dress and I didn't win anything. So anyway, I made up this one, and Jenny kindly said that I should have won something for it because of the hack alone. And I actually thought to myself, I really thought the hack was really good, and I was just really impressed with it, that I could achieve it. By the way, the tutorial I used for doing the dart manipulation was from Seamworks. If you just type in drafting, or no, what did I say, converting, something like converting bust darts to princess seams or something like that by Seamworks, it will pop up. Very informative. She does it slowly enough. It's all step by step, and it's a really good it's a really good easy hack. So anyway, Jenny said, oh, I should have won a prize for it, blah blah. And actually I thought, I don't even think Fabric Godmother sort of noticed my dress, because obviously as you're flicking through all the photos, it just looks like a normal dress. It's only if you read the caption or look at the other subsequent photos that you'll know that I've actually hacked the seam lines to create breastfeeding access panels. And so I ended up, just as a result of Jenny commenting on that, I did actually send a direct message to Fabric Godmother on Instagram, and they were really amazed by it as well. And they were like, oh, please can we post it on our grid? We think it's an amazing hack. Especially I think now breastfeeding clothes are so expensive, and they are premium, premium garments really, because it's quite hard now to find sort of really beautiful functional breastfeeding clothes. And so to be able to make something is really amazing, especially to be able to hack a pattern to benefit what you want your clothing to do for you function wise. And they said they would put it on their grid. They haven't yet put it on their grid. I have been checking their grid. They haven't yet put it on there, but they have said, can we use your photo? We'll of course tag you. And I said, thank you very much. That's really great. Of course you can use it. So thank you very much, Jenny, for encouraging me to do that. And then the next thing Jenny was also asking about was my hoodies. She's a grandmother to 6 children, I believe. And she loves making 6 grandchildren, sorry. And she does make a lot of hoodies. And she asked if I could show her how to do sort of the back facing on my hoodies. So again, I haven't got one to hand as such, but I will show you sort of, where is it? Where did I put it? Ah, behind me, sorry. Just quickly, I'm a bit all over the place. So And before I show you that, because this is kind of, it leads on to this conversation, as I say, I started a sewing club with the girls, and the first thing they made was tiered skirts with pockets. It's the Maeve skirt by True Bias, but I just well, 3 of the girls are teenagers, so they just ended up using sort of the smallest size, like an 8 or a 10, and then 2 of them were 10 and 11, and I just basically reduced, drafted the, you know what I mean, just changed the pattern pieces, made it smaller to fit a child, basically. So I don't have photos of those, unfortunately. So that's the first project. And then the second project they've done, so I think 4 of them have finished now, are billie sweatshirts. So that's the billie sweatshirt I was putting up a while ago. Again, tilling the buttons, great instructions, great for beginners. This goes from a size UK 6, bust of 30, waist of 24, all the way up to a UK 24, bust of 48, waist of 42. So they made billie sweatshirts. They chose their own fabric. I'll pop up some of the photos of, this is Florence has made one in a aqua French terry and matching ribbing from Pound Fabrics. And then we've got Anna, who made one in a teal French terry and matching ribbing from Pound Fabrics. And then my daughter Sienna made her version here. And she, her fabric was from Little Miss So-and-so. It's this one here. So it's a floral. I think it's from, it may be Poppy Fabrics, I'm not sure. I don't have the selvage anymore. And then matching ribbing from Pound Fabrics. It's actually not matching ribbing. I'll show you the... So when I bought this, it's so this is much darker than this pink. So when I bought this, I have this kind of niggle when I buy sweatshirting fabric. I like, for, I'm sure everybody does, would like the ribbing to match the sweatshirt colors exactly. And I have this thing that if it doesn't match, I think it's going to just stick out like a sore thumb. It's not going to work. So anyway, we've had this fabric for a while and we've been looking for ribbing to match it. Now, obviously, in terms of ribbing, I only do it online, so it's quite hard to get the color of this. This is dusky pink ribbing, which I had in my stash already, although I did buy some more by accident. And anyway, it wasn't the right color match, and I had used, you know, I did put it next to each other before, and it just wasn't working. And then I ended up reaching out to Jelly Fabrics, who, if you send them a scrap of your fabric, they will color match something for you and then tell you which sort of color to buy, and then you would order it. So anyway, they sent me an Instagram photo with the 2 options they had, and the options they had were sort of burgundy winey colors, and I had a burgundy winey color, and I thought, well, if that's the closest match they have, I might as well just stick to the dusky pink, which actually from far away looks perfectly fine. I don't think it looks too out of place or like a sore thumb. So anyway, that was that one. I posted a photo of Sienna with that one already. So the girls literally did this all themselves. It was all on the overlocker, so it's not the neatest thing, but I mean, it's, you know, it's their own made sweater. I did have to help them with the neckline a bit, because I know if you don't get the neckline right, I personally think that the whole thing is ruined if you don't get a nice flat neckline. Luckily this was nice and flat. As you can see, the stitching's gone a bit skewy off there, but that's hidden. And I said, you know, with every project you learn and you just try and get better for the next one. But she wears it all the time, which is really, really great. And then my daughter Anya is also wearing her one. So she, again, it's a French terry fabric from Pound Fabrics, with a print this time and matching pink, dusky pink ribbing. And this is her version here. So again, a lovely flat neckline, neckband. Again, it's all a bit messy inside, but again, she did this all by herself. And what else was I going to say? Oh, just quickly, Pound Fabrics, every time you buy, you can collect points. For every pound you spend, I think you get a point. And I think I've got about 700 points now, which entitles me to £7 off my next purchase. Also, every time you buy something, a couple of days later, they will send you a review email to click to review their fabric. And if you add a photo, you get 5 points for every photo you add. So for example, for this is already 10 points because I reviewed for the main fabric and I reviewed for the print, for the ribbing. Likewise with all the other ones that the girls made, I did reviews for all of them. So I managed to rack up, I will be racking up 6 times 2, 12 times 5. That doesn't make sense, does it? So 6 girls, yeah, 6 girls, 5 each, that's 30 points. And then for their ribbing as well, although Sienna's one wasn't from there. So anyway, you get what I mean. You get to you can rack up points, and that becomes money off future fabric purchases. So dear Jenny, so with this I was going to cut out a back facing to show you, but I forgot, and I've got the back facing here, and then she'd already done it, and I didn't want to sort of say, oh, we forgot to do something. Anyway, so what I normally do with my back facing, so when you cut out the when you cut out your front bodice piece, do I have something to show you? When you, and I've got this, I mean this isn't the piece, but when you cut out your front bodice piece, normally it's something similar to this. There isn't this, obviously this is a peony dress, something similar to this. This is where your fold is, so your fold of your fabric is here, and then you cut out this piece here. So this piece here is the perfect piece to use for your back facing. So I mean obviously this isn't going to match, but I'll show you. It sort of ends up like this. That's the fabric bit that you would throw away. So that piece there, keep it, because it's the perfect size and shape for your back facing. And what I normally do is I overlock this edge here, I sew my label on here, and then when I'm putting my neckband on, so for example when you put your neckband on, you put it on this way, don't you? So you have you pin your neckband down all the way through, you adjust it so it's equal all the way round. So when I pin my neckband down to my fabric, I pin this at the same time, and I do right sides together. So that's the back of the fabric, that's the back, sorry. I do right sides together, and I overlock all of that together with this piece on as well. And then let's just pretend that is overlocked now. It should end up with something like this attached there. So that's all fully overlocked, and it's overlocked underneath. So this piece covers the overlocking completely, and then this piece is overlocked as well. But because the fabric is, the neck of the sweater doesn't open up, gape that much, you then have a beautiful facing for the back. So you don't your overlocking isn't shown, and also if it's, you don't show the, you can't see the reverse of the fabric, so you can just see this beautiful facing, which I really like. And then what you do then, which I've seen, sorry, I've been looking at this part of the screen, so I know I'm not actually looking at you, I have to look back at the camera. So then what you do is then you top stitch all the way around here, and that then from the back you just have a stitching, like a semicircle row of stitching here, which actually quite a few sweaters, ready to wear sweaters, have got that stitching at the back, because they do use this sort of back facing, and I find that a really nice, neat finish. It just looks really professional, and it's really easily done. You just sew an extra, so instead of having your neckband and your main fabric, you have neckband, main fabric and facing all together, and it's a really nice, neat finish. So hopefully that's helped you, Jenny, and that's all she wanted to know about that one. So that's that done there. And what else have I been up to? Oh, also I have, as I said in my previous vlog, I have also started, not that I have lots of time and I don't have any children, or I'm not home educating, or I don't have 9 children, I don't have a house to clean, but I have also started an adult sewing class. So every Friday afternoon, because I'm away anyway, I'm away in Walsingham with my children. They have like a football sort of social every Friday afternoon for about 3 to 4 hours. So they play football or netball, or they just socialise, or play board games. They just get together with their friends, basically, all home educated children, lots of teenagers, they just get together. And this happens every Friday. Now, during the summertime, it's great because we're out in the park, we're just enjoying the weather, that sort of thing. But in the winter, although the older children still like to play outside, even in the cold, they play football and netball, they just hang around outside. it's not that nice for the mums to hang around outside in the cold and the rain and everything else. So what I decided to do, because I was there anyway, sort of just sitting at a cafe or sitting in the car doing some knitting or what have you, or going to one of the mums' houses and just having a chat with them, I just thought, let's start a knitting, a sewing class, because the mums there always sort of comment on, you know, being wanting to sew, or they have and that's the funny thing, most of my friends or people that I bump into, not bump into, people that I know, when they hear that I sew, they always, you know, I've got a sewing machine. They have a sewing machine, but then they've never used it, or they've barely used it, or they just use it for repairs, and to sort, you know, they have everything there. They just need that someone to help them, you know, help them through their first pattern, help them through their first garment, and hopefully from that point onwards they then discover the amazing sort of skill and ability to sew. And I just think it's such a creative activity that's really wonderful, you know, to learn and to pass on to your children. So anyway, I started up this sewing class, and so everybody is doing individual projects, which actually is quite nice, because I was going to choose a pattern for everybody to make, and actually I thought, well, these are adults, they're not children, you know, they're not just going to listen to, you know, me tell them what to make. So anyway, they're doing individual patterns, and I will share some photos of that with you, hopefully on my next vlog. And now I don't know why I'm talking about this, but I guess I'm talking to you about it just as something else that I've started. I think that was it, really. Just as something that I've started, so I just thought I'd mention that. And then the last thing, oh no, one more thing. I don't know if any of you have discovered your Google Lens if you have an Android phone. So I don't know if the Apple phone has this as well. So on the Google phone, if you it's a great feature if you have a photo. So if you take a photo of a garment that you like in the shops, or fabric that you like, or a picture of, you know, like if you like this painting or flowers and you think, oh, I'd love some fabric like that, just take a picture of it and I'll show you. So I've got this fabric here. This is a Lady McElroy cotton lawn remnant. I've made a dress in this before. And just as an example, I've taken a photo of this, and I'll share my screen with you. Let me just see what I'm going to do here. I'll share my screen with you. And what you do is, so you go to your photos, get a picture of the photo, get your photo up, and then you click on the Google Lens here, which is this button down here. It then tells you if you want to search, and I would click search on mine, and you can type in fabric, you can type in sewing patterns. So if you type in fabric, it then goes on to Google and it tries to find that fabric for you. And as you can see here, there's one, two, three. Number 3 is exactly the fabric that I want. Lady McElroy Tiffany Flora Fern. I think that's really, really amazing. And likewise, I've done one with another photo. So I have another photo of a dress that a friend wanted, and I'll pop that one up now. Sorry, I'm just going to find it for you. A friend, so one of the girls in the adult sewing class wanted, she just said, I'd really like to make a dress like this. And I can't find it now, which is a shame. I really wanted a dress like this. And I said, okay, we took it. So I said, bring it in. And we took a photo of it. And then I did this Google thing again with her. And, oh, here you go. So this is the dress that she wanted. I go onto Google Lens, and you can see here it's showing me all the different fabrics that are similar to that one, which is really great. So these are all ready to wear items, which is great. It's very similar. And then if you click onto your search, if you click in sewing pattern and then press search, it then brings you up all different variations of this pattern, possible options for making this pattern yourself, which I think is really great. You've got the Sudley here by Megan Nielsen. You've got a McCall's pattern here. You've got a Liberty pattern. You've got the Frida dress by Sew Girl Shop here. So this one here is very similar to what she was after. So I'll click onto this now, and there you go. You've got the open front neckline there. You've got the tiered skirts, you've got the long sleeves. Again, the Sudley dress is very similar again, although it's more of a keyhole opening. The front of her dress is more keyhole. I think you also have a tiered skirt on that one. Similarly, this McCall's one, it's the same sort of slit neckline at the front. And I think that is it. I've done that one. And that's it. And I just think it's a really amazing feature on your phone. So if you're ever, you know, looking for a pattern or a dress online, take that photo, click on Google Lens and see if it gives you pattern ideas or where to buy fabric from, or even similar fabric. I think it's really, really great a piece of tech to use in terms of finding something, because you know, I think us sewists always see sort of a ready to wear item and think, oh, I can make that, I would like to find a pattern for that, and you can spend ages trawling through. And sometimes when you see a certain dress, you don't know what it's called, so you don't know what that neckline is called, so it's very hard then to type that in your search parameters if you don't know what it's called. But if you have a photograph and you use Google Lens, it will do all the searching based on the image, which is really, really great. The last thing, sorry, 59 minutes now, the last thing I wanted to show you was a knitting project which I started last year. And when I say last year, I know it's just January 2024 now. When I say last year, it was a whole year ago. It's a cardigan that I've been knitting. It's taking me ages because I don't really knit as much now. I tend to knit when I'm pregnant because I can't get when my belly gets too big, I can't get behind the sewing machine. But this is the Whitmore cardigan. Is there a nice picture? I don't know if you can see that picture here. It's the Whitmore cardigan. So it's got a lace yoke, and I saw this on The Secret Life of a Seamstress. She made a really, really gorgeous version. I think she knits quite fast because she's made quite a few sort of knitted garments, and they look beautiful. And she listed all of her supplies below, and I got exactly all of the supplies that she got, even the same colorway. And I'll just show you my progress. I've still got a long way to go. I haven't even, so it starts from the neck downwards, so I've done the yoke, so I haven't even split into the arms yet. It's all sewn in one. Even the buttons at the front, you don't add the button placket afterwards, you add it together. So I've only just done the yoke part here, and there's lots of different, I don't know how I'm going to show you. So it's not, sorry. Oh, right. I'll just show you this quickly. I don't know what that looks like there. So this is sort of some of the lace work of the so it's going to be like that. That's what so it ends up. So that's the top of it. These are the buttonholes. You can see there's one buttonhole there, another one there, another one there, and that's sort of the lace yoke sort of coming together. And I think I have made a lot of mistakes, and hopefully you won't be able to see it because the lace work is quite holy as such. So, you know, it's nice to just sit there and do some knitting now and again. So that's what I've done so far. Sometimes when I'm teaching the children, if they're doing work that they don't need sort of you know, every minute supervision, like if they're doing like their maths, for example, I will sit next to them, and instead of going on my phone, for example, I could just like get a couple of rows done, which is really, really nice to get done. And that's it. Thank you very much. Hope I didn't babble on too much. Any questions, please do comment below. Please do, as I say, click the like button, click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Also click the little bell as well so that you get notified of all my new vlogs coming out. As it stands at the moment, I am only doing a roundup of the month vlogs because life has just gotten really, really busy, especially since Christmas. I don't think I've quite recovered from Christmas, having all the family over. But also I've just kind of, in the evening, baby Theo is growing up, and in the evenings I have just been spending a lot more time with the children. So instead of sewing, my usual time is sewing in the evenings. You know, I normally go up to the younger children's bedrooms. So I go up to Anya and Ava's bedrooms, and I kind of lie down with them for a little while, say a couple of prayers, maybe say a decade of the rosary, just talk about our day for about 5-10 minutes, and then I go to the boys' bedrooms and I kiss them goodnight, sort of do the same thing. Now, normally Daniel does this routine, like he reads them bedtime stories, he says some prayers with them, and the children really, really love it. And I've not really done that with them, and that sounds really awful because I'm their mother. But I suppose because I'm with them the whole day, I think that I've given all my time to them. But during the day, I suppose, you know, things are busy. We've got the school routine to get through. We've got swimming lessons, we've got piano lessons, we've got MMA lessons, we've got the football, we've got football for the old ones, football for the younger ones, and there's just so much rushing around. And then there's, you know, breakfast, lunch and dinner, there's tidying up, there's grocery coming from Tesco, you know, all those things going on, along with like the baby crying and the toddler crying and everything else. And so I find maybe during the day, even though I am with the children pretty much all of the time, you know, a bit of quiet time in the evening, like almost 1-to-1 or 2-to-1. I think it's quite nice just to do that. And so I have been doing that sort of every evening. I won't say every evening, actually. Well, the past couple of weeks the past week I have been doing it every evening, but I would say maybe every other evening it's nice for me to do that. It doesn't replace what Daniel does. So Daniel still does his bedtime stories and prayers with the children sort of individually as well. He goes to their rooms and things, but it's nice as well for me to go in there. We just snuggle up and everything. So that's that. So that's why I've not been able to do much more vlogging, and in terms of my sewing as well, not that much either, although December's not been too bad. But January, I think, as I say, this is really, really behind. It is January now, so I think I've only made 1, 2, 3 items so far. I might be able to squeeze 1 Camden skirt in, so that will only be 4 items for January, which is really, really tiny for me in terms of normally I'm just like churning through things. But yeah, and that's it. That's all I have to talk about. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you do enjoy the contents of my blog, as I say, please like, thumbs up, click thumbs up, and please spread it to your friends, either if they're sewing friends, or even if they're not, if they want to get into sewing and they just want to watch somebody babble on about sewing and patterns and that sort of thing, then please send them in my direction. Anyway, thank you so much for everything again. Hopefully see you again next time. Take care. Bye bye. God bless.